Tammy Foley and Hayley Twig Wheeler. Healthy Minds, Better Lives is all about, well, just exploring the mind, emotions, feelings, how you can cope with them, what's going on in your surroundings, being aware of it, and ultimately, hopefully, just allowing you to be aware of it and knowing that there is support out there. And if you're going through it, then many other people probably are as well. Karen Codder, an inspirational practitioner. I know, Tammy, you've known her for quite some time, and Hayley, the first time you've met her. But some incredible advice there, and so much I learnt there in that half an hour she was with us.
Yeah, a lot of knowledge. And just reassuring, just people wearing masks or just normalizing death. I've taken a lot away from it.
Yeah, especially I think just because people have this emotional build-up, and Christmas is going to heighten that, and it is okay to let it out, and I just think it's getting that communication to other people, where I think if it wasn't for Karen being on the show this evening, I think I'd be one of those to bottle it up, to be honest. I would. I think I would just go, you don't want to spoil someone else's Christmas. All of a sudden, then you have a couple of bucks fizzes later on in the evening, and all of a sudden you're a blubbering mess. You wish you just talked about it earlier on. Did you take much away from that, Hayley? Was any of that an education?
Yeah, I think it's great to know that service is available, and that we are, we've got a service that's actually sitting down with children and speaking about grief, because a lot of our adults find it difficult to do that. We haven't been taught the skills often to deal with grief and all the emotions that come with that. So it's lovely to know that service is out there.
Yeah, Sandy Bed's our chosen charity here at Pure West Radio. We like to support a different charity every year for various different reasons. They're a registered charity providing a service to all children and young people up to the age of 18 who have suffered or who are likely to suffer a bereavement that live here in Pembrokeshire. And they've had some wonderful support from many different organisations, and they're pivotal here in Pembrokeshire now. They support so many people, and they've supported a huge amount of young people in such a short space of time, really, as well. They're an incredible charity. We were just talking as well, Tammy. Grief can affect you in many different ways, as well as the types of grief that may bring those emotions up.
Yes, I just want to just touch on the point that grief is not exclusively about the physical death of a person. We can grieve in other ways as well, and it's important to sit with that and acknowledge that we can grieve when we lose a job. We can grieve over finances, a breakup of a friendship. There's still kind of stage that we still go through, and I just wanted to kind of highlight that. Especially because we're moving on to Christmas, and there can be breakups and fallouts over Christmas because it is that time of year. So grief is not just about the death of someone.
It's a really, really good point to bring up, actually, because a lot of emotions, a lot heightened, especially at the moment. I think it's safe to say. I mean, we were just talking off air there, Hayley, and I said, crikey, I wish I didn't watch the 10 o'clock news last night, because it was very worrying. I mean, I discovered there's only 2 days in December that an industry is not on strike. It's incredibly worrying times for a lot of people, and people are dealing with these things, or they've held it in, and all of a sudden it's Christmas now, and all these emotions are coming out, and we find ourselves maybe in a bit of a sticky situation, Hayley.
Yeah, I think Christmas can be a real pressure point for people, because there's such a pressure to have the perfect Christmas. But actually, what does the perfect Christmas look like? When you're adding the perfect Christmas on top of the crisis that we're all living through, the cost of living crisis, can we heat our homes? Are we eating? Do we need to get presents as well? Relationships are under strain and stress. Parenting is really difficult under those circumstances. It really is. If there's any a time, this is a good time to learn how to deal with your emotions, because it can be a really tough time. I'm not saying that Christmas can't be good, even if we're having a tough time, but let's be honest about how tough it is for people now. And actually, it's okay not to have this whatever the retail stores are telling you is the perfect Christmas. It's okay to have your type of Christmas, whatever that may be.
Yeah, it's a really good point Cara made as well. Even if the kids, just want chicken nuggets and chips, you haven't got to force turkey down them. If you can't afford a turkey this year, don't worry about it. It's whatever makes you happy. Which I think brings us nicely onto our next topic, really, because we're looking forward to it. It is a great time, family time, and sometimes just sat down and having a game of cards might be, what someone needs and will bring more joy than all these, materialistic things. It's just spending that quality time together. But as some people are really excited counting down the days, some will be wishing it's all to be over. This is a sort of point you brought to the table, Tammy.
Yeah, we kind of we're kind of in that world now where we think of Christmas and it should be that time to relax and spend time with family and friends. But again, as Hayley's touched on, there is increased stress and increased anxiety, a rise in expectations, perhaps ensuring that you've got the right food in, when maybe when you can't afford it, or actually fitting into other people's Christmases, to making sure that everyone's happy and there's lots of harmony and there's no arguments. And it's about managing expectations. It can, as Karen touched on, if you've lost a loved one, there's triggers there. It can be a time for reigniting those many emotional thoughts and feelings that some of us have if we have lost someone. So if we could just touch on ways to actually help people through, whether it's keeping focus on positive things, whether it's asking for help. I don't think we do that enough at Christmas. We kind of become martyrs and think that we can do it all. And that just creates more anxiety. And there's no medals for being a martyr at Christmas at all.
No, well, I think my biggest tip would be to keep it simple, whatever that means for you. And when I was talking to my ex-partner today about when I was really unwell with depression. I've always loved Christmas, but Christmas became a real pressure for me. And on this particular Christmas day, we'd had food, they'd opened presents. It was just after lunch, and we played boy girl. That game where you write the boy girl place. We played that, and then we did. There's a game where find the words that sound the same but have different meanings. So like pair and pair, and actually the children spoke about that for about 3 years after. Every Christmas they would say, "Do you remember when?" And I think we've lost that. So if you keep it simple and even bring it back to the basics, you'll be very surprised at how much that quality time will mean long down the line, those memories of being just together. So stressing about the financial side, yeah, I can understand that. But don't forget, the memories don't come from the financial stuff. The memories come from spending special time together.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's funny when you sort of cast your mind back to all those really special Christmases, the ones that are meaningful, and it's the ones that you don't go, oh yeah, I remember they bought that remote control car or this really cool VR headset. You don't do. It's those funny comical moments that come from Pictionary, or covering yourself in foam, or dodging the poo, as my kids are obsessed with it at the moment. Making Play-Doh out of poo and dodging that on a mat. They'd find that hilarious. That'll probably be the funniest Christmas they'd ever have. I mean, it's a very interesting and testing time. We should be looking to relax and spend that quality time, but sometimes then it does really you get more stressed out and the anxiety falls. Some great advice there, Hayley. Keep it simple. I mean, how do you try and keep yourself focused and make sure your emotions don't run away with you too much?
I think it's, again, like Tammy said, managing your expectations, not the expectations of others. Because if you are putting so many things on your plate and thinking that, this is going to be easy to deal with, it's okay to delegate. It's okay to sit down and really think through what your priorities are. Maybe this year your priorities have changed, and that's okay. Even just sitting down with a partner or family member, or even your children, and saying, look, I'm really stressed this year. Do you think we can do X, Y, Z, whatever that may be for you? because that openness, that honesty with yourself first, it starts there, and then with other people, will actually make it easier. On the days I used to say to my children when I had depression, today is not the day. I felt better because I knew that they understood what I meant, because it was, today's not the day to push my buttons. So they would behave, and the stress was released. And it was an amazing thing that just those couple of words were enough to say, to communicate that, okay, this is a bad day and we need to do it differently today. So being able to communicate that to your family, this is a tough Christmas. Let's see how we can make it better together. Together is a great thing.
That's really good. I really like that. I also think just, it's not about, like you say, it's not about, the material things. It is about just families coming together. If we can avoid conflict, let's not put ourselves in those situations where we can create conflict, those triggers. Make time for you. And that doesn't have to be overboard, but make time, whether, it's going for that walk or just stepping outside of the house, or listening to your favorite song and singing as loudly as you can. Just for that, just for you, just so you kind of can just distance yourself away from any emotion, and just refocus, is what I would suggest as well.
Some wonderful advice there. And a hard-hitting topic coming up in just a moment. I mean, it is that time of year where emotions are incredibly heightened, and domestic abuse is on the rise. I mean, the police force still on call on Christmas Day, and it's very sad that things do get very heightened around the Christmas period. But important it's talked about, and hopefully breaking down some of that stigma surrounding it as well, and just gaining some awareness of it. As Hayley, you actually wrote a book on this, so I'm very intrigued to hear more about that. That's on the way next in part 4 here on Healthy Minds, Better Lives. Reach out to us. It's at Pure West Radio on the socials. We would love to hear from you this evening if you would like to get involved. If there's something that has really maybe made you just sit back and think, maybe it's been a great piece of advice, or maybe it's just given you an interesting trip down memory lane, share that with us this evening. It's at Pure West Radio on the socials. You can WhatsApp as well, 01437 764455. That's 01437 764455. You can send your messages in right there.
This is Pure West Radio for Pembrokeshire, from Pembrokeshire.
All right.